Next presenter is going to be Steve Hansen, who's going to talk to you about direct mail. Steve.
Well, as some of you may know, we produce direct mail and do mailings for people. What I've tried to do today is give you some, what I would call the probably classic reasons and advantages of direct mail. And I'm just going to go through what we have in the handout and kind of elaborate on some of these. But part of my objective was to give you a kind of a little reference piece. So as you're looking at your marketing effort and what you are marketing, you could look at some of these characteristics and advantages of direct mail and see if you feel that that applies to your product. Because I think one of the challenges almost anyone marketing a product or a service today faces is a rainbow of options and choices about where and how you can advertise. And trying to allocate your marketing budget to the type of marketing that might produce the best results for you, hopefully this can give you a little better sense of whether you might want to consider direct marketing for what you are trying to sell. So with direct mail advertising, you have the power to affect the way people think and feel about you because you can make your message personally relevant. Very often when people are talking about doing a direct mail, oh, the microphone, yes. Thanks. Doing direct mail, so often people will come in and say, well, we want a direct mail letter, but we want to keep it to one page to make sure people read it. And that is an example of taking something you've heard about one situation and trying to apply it to everything. Because I know from my experience and research that some of the people that have become famous for direct mail marketing have principles such as the more you tell, the more you sell, and sell products very effectively with 10, 12, 16-page direct mail letters, some of which you've probably seen over the years. And whether you make a one-page letter or a 16-page letter depends upon what you're selling and the information you have to present to somebody to make a sale, and how you have identified who your prospects are, and whether you feel because of the audience you've identified, whether they will be interested enough in what you are selling to read a more extensive presentation. So there are many factors. So just going down our list, direct mail allows you to communicate with an individual on a one-to-one level. It's you and the customer. Because unlike somebody going through a magazine, a newspaper, they see an ad, they might glance at it. When somebody gets a piece of mail, if they read it, you've got their attention on a real kind of more direct one-to-one basis. Mail is engaging. Consumers spend an average of 10 minutes reading direct mail. That's 20, 30-second commercials, 10 minutes. That's a big connection you can make. If you have a piece of direct mail that will touch somebody, if you've identified a prospect who does have a potential interest in your product, you have a real great personal presentation sales opportunity there.
10 minutes per day or 10 minutes for what?
If somebody gets a piece of direct mail.
Well, half of it goes in the trash. So I mean, what's the 10 minutes? I don't know.
When you find somebody who finds your product or offering to be of interest and they read it,
Okay,
or if they look at it.
Piece if they get to,
Yeah.
if they get to open it.
It's just like, if you put an ad in a newspaper,
Sure.
everyone who reads a newspaper doesn't look at that ad because they've seen it before, they recognize it. It's about furniture. They live in an apartment. They're not going to buy furniture. There can be many reasons. So I think sometimes, we need to remember that direct mail as a form of advertising is a fishing expedition. And how many of the people that you are mailing to look at your offer depends on how well selected your mailing list is, that target audience. So this is based on, those people that do have an interest and then take the next step. Okay, mail is a tangible form of advertising. It gives you a physical presence in your customer's home or office and can literally put your product in their hands. Another aspect of this is that very often when somebody gets direct mail, they might keep it around if it's something they're interested in. Sometimes some people in businesses file it for future reference, so it can have a longer-term impact than a single viewing. Mail can be targeted to reach very specific audiences. Almost every individual, household, and business in your market area can be reached by mail. If you look at a national, in terms of targeting, just to give you a little bit of sense of this, if you go to a consumer list source, and there are multiple sources for lists of consumers, a lot of those lists are generated through the credit bureaus and people that have access to credit information. Those files typically have somewhere in the range of 255 different demographic filters on them. Income, education, presence of children in the home, home ownership, some mortgage information, types of cars they drive, many things, so that you can literally, looking at all of those factors and relating them, really, identify the type of person you're trying to reach. And there are many ways to go at that. Just to give a little insight into that, I don't know if this would apply to anyone here, but you can, for instance, if you have a customer file and you have, say, a minimum of 2,000 customers that you've identified that you have on a mailing list, you can take that list, match that to a national consumer file, find your customers in the national consumer file, mark them, and then run a program that will determine the most accurate demographic filter that paints a picture of your customer, and then apply that filter to the national consumer file of 180 million households, and find people all around the country who match the demographic characteristics of your existing customers. That would only be appropriate for certain types of customer files or products, but it just gives you a sense of some of the types of things that can be done to develop.
With all the inquiries. And all our marketing is based on the results of those.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it can be done. Mail can support and deepen brand relationships, building awareness as part of integrated campaigns. Just like every other form of advertising, you can connect it to your other advertising and give a more expanded story, perhaps, than you can in other media, particularly in print media where you've got a limited amount of space. In a direct mail campaign, you can give more details, more insight, more depth of understanding of the unique characteristics of what you're offering and benefits to a potential customer. Quick to produce. You can prepare and mail a small promotion within days or weeks. Direct mail is perfect for quickly testing prices, offers, and potential audiences. You have complete control over the media, the audience, and your offer. By way of example, we have gone from inquiry to having something in the mail over the years in as short as 48 hours in extreme circumstances. So it can be, a very responsive and fast type of advertising, and especially if you have a unique situation or something you need to let your customers know about in a quick way. With today's production technologies, we can really get things out to people in a very fast way.